time to ham up.
Now I gotta really try hard.
Shut it down!
Somehow it's the best.
Yum Chunks Podcast.
Yum Chunks!
Hello, everyone, and welcome to a very special episode of After the Credits, a Yum Chunks podcast. I am Matt Chewy. With me today is Chris Schmidt. Oh, okay.
And you did just get a dog.
Yeah, but
is this what it's like now? I haven't been on here for a while.
The dog is not welcome on this podcast. That's a lie. All dogs are welcome everywhere. And also with us today is Vince Rizzo.
I don't want to bark. I'll just say hi.
And Sean Davis.
Hi, meow.
You guys all don't have to be weird.
Oh, okay.
And Ryan Davis.
Normal introduction of Ryan.
Hi, Ryan.
All right.
Oh, hi, Vince.
We're all here. This is the first time in, who knows, probably since the Avatar episode?
A fortnight.
A year. It's
quite a while. This is the first time in a good amount of time that we've had the whole band back together. And it's because, like I mentioned, it's a very special episode. This is our 2018 wrap-up episode. We're going to be looking back at the whole year. We're over halfway through January, so it's now or never. We're going to have to do this now or it ain't gonna happen, right?
Very true, very true.
Okay, cool. So we're going to take a look backwards, and then at the end we're going to take a look forwards, because we got lots of... we're going every direction in time. Up, down.
Chewie's a prophet.
Yes, we will see. And because we got a lot of good yummy chunks coming up in this year. A lot of good discussions to be had. So
we do, and
we
you won't
still
appreciate
sticking with the chunk branding too. Apparently.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
We have
no matter how bad it is for us.
Chewie, what do I have to do to get you to watch all 7 seasons of Game of Thrones before the final one airs?
You're gonna have to go look into an alternate timeline to see if I've already watched it.
Oh man, damn it! Do you think any of those exist?
What
Sorry, we're in the
Spider-Verse
dark
does
timeline.
it exist that Chewie watched all the Game of Thrones seasons?
Yes, there's only one. Unfortunately,
There's a couple where he stopped before the end,
Mhm.
and he only watched seasons 1.5.
Unfortunately, Vince, the only timeline where I've watched all of Game of Thrones, you're all dead in it. So
Oh man, it's probably because of that. It was in my memoriam. I was like, Chewie, will you just watch it, please?
Oh, I was imagining it was like Chewie murdered you, and then as a matter of remorse, washed them all.
Oh, I figured it was he was inspired by it and then murdered us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that.
He saw the Red Wedding, right? And he was like, "That, I can do that."
Chris, you haven't watched anything.
Yeah,
right?
I
have
that's
those
just
with
the
the Red
Red
Wedding.
That's a thing.
reference things from Game of Thrones. You don't want-
See, I don't even
I
need
can't.
to watch it.
I can
know
do whatever
everything
I
that
want.
happened. Red Wedding.
Wolves.
Lannister.
Hodor.
Winter is coming at some point, or it's here. I don't know. Dragons, maybe. Beaches?
Old
Wait, Matt, how
avatars,
do you watch Game
old
of
wrinkly
Thrones?
avatars.
You seem to know a
Important
lot about
rocks. Nakeds. What else do I need to know? What else do I got to know?
Wait,
that's
Chewie, I
it.
just got to stop you a second. The Lannisters, though
Sarah
very
Connor.
powerful, are not magical like, say, the Warlocks of Karth.
Anyway, so today, before we get started, we're
Somebody
gonna,
had to make a Parks
just go
and Rec
around
reference.
the circle and talk about what we've been up to, what our lives have been like, and what we've been into. Who wants to kick it off?
I'll go
Chris, you'll go.
because I got a puppy and it makes me energetic. Hey, everybody! I got a puppy.
Tell me about this puppy.
He is a cardigan Welsh Corgi. He is 10 weeks old, and he is driving Kay up a wall.
Oh.
So he's like the Batmobile from Batman Forever.
Forever or
Yeah.
Robin?
Going up
forever.
a wall?
Yeah, it's Forever.
Is he possessed?
Kinda. Driving
Do you
up a wall,
recommend
I get
this
it.
puppy for others?
For me.
I don't know
Yeah.
what that means.
Yeah, I don't know. What's the question? I don't understand the question.
Chris, I have to wonder, did Kay and you get this dog because of her love of the dog movies that Sean made fun of in last week's episode?
She does love those, but I
Aquaman?
wouldn't say that that's the reason we got a dog. I mean, I
Does
also
anyone-
I also wanted a dog, but she does like those movies.
That movie got surprisingly okay reviews. Like it's in like the 50%.
That's because
surprisingly okay.
Because people would be viewed as monsters. If they're like, this movie about a cute dog is the worst thing ever, right? Nobody listens to that.
I don't know about that.
Monsters?
We are in the darkest timeline. It's been confirmed. So let's put ourselves out of the darkest timeline for 2019, guys.
I've been trying to finish Dragon Quest XI, and I'm so over that game at this point. It had a false ending, and I was like, "Oh my god!" After like 60 hours, I'm finally there. And then it ended, credits rolled, and it's like, "Oh no, that was only kind of like the halfway point. There's a whole nother story part to it, like the actual ending that you have to do."
I'm sorry to hear that, Chris. That sounds rough.
I'm going to just abandon that game.
It's too bad that you're forced to play this video game.
I know.
Man.
Because Kingdom Hearts comes out in a week and a half.
Down.
So,
Kingdom Hearts.
Dragon Quest is going to the wayside.
Speaking of Kingdom Hearts, I'm considering finishing the first one.
Consider
only 8 more to go before you can play 3.
Do I let's just say I finished the first one. Can I just skip ahead to this new one?
No.
I mean, which one do I have to play?
Yes, you
can.
You
have to play all of them.
Will you understand
it? Play
Not
Kingdom
as
Hearts
much.
3, there's a question when you boot the game up, and it asks you a whole bunch of what
it's
is
a quiz.
Kingdom Hearts?
It's a standardized test.
Yeah.
Chewie, let me ask you a question. If I let you borrow Kingdom Hearts, can you erase my game file?
That's for the best that he does that, actually.
Game files are stored on your
locally.
Your console's
no
hard
longer
drive. So if you're
stored
asking
on
me if you'll lend me your your console, the answer is no. I won't give it back.
Oh,
Actually,
it's like seasons 3 and 4 of Legend of Korra. Never found those.
Oh,
I never said that I wouldn't give those back. I just haven't.
It's been like 4 years.
Also,
I'm never getting them back.
Also,
don't you have the box set?
No, I don't.
Oh.
He'll give them back to you on your deathbed.
Is it the box set for Korra like $20 right now?
It
I don't know
probably
if
is.
there's a timeline where I give back those beers.
Look, all I know is I've only
We are in
seen
the
season
darkest
3
timeline.
once. Season 3 is the best one. I've only seen it once. It makes me sad.
What? I like season 3.
Yeah, I know. It's the
So it's
best
the
one,
best.
and I've only seen it once.
It's the best season of Avatar.
I don't know about that, but it's the best.
I know about that. I know all about that.
Well, yeah, you've probably seen it a bunch of times, so you could make a fair assessment. But I have not.
Do I have your season?
What do you mean? Yes, you do.
Joey, don't go searching
I
for
didn't
it.
even
We're
hear
recording
Chewie
podcasts.
looking for it.
Oh, I have 3 and 4. Okay,
Yes,
yeah, all right.
I said that.
Whatever. Okay.
Okay, continuing on. I've watched that Black Mirror movie, Bandersnatch.
Ooh,
I've
yeah.
watched Roma. I've watched some shows I can't remember the name of right now. And I got a puppy.
Good. I like it.
What's that puppy's name?
Riku.
Ooh.
What does that mean?
Weeb.
Ooh.
One who reeks.
Is it after Kingdom Hearts or some other more obscure thing?
It's Kingdom Hearts.
Okay.
It's only 1K, right?
Yeah.
Good old Chris.
Yeah. So
Wait,
it's
which one is the
Kingdom
double
Hearts.
K? I forgot.
That's
That's
Final Fantasy X.
10. That's
Right.
10.
Kano,
Yeah,
it's
okay.
named after
Yeah.
Kingdom Hearts?
Yes. Riku means
Oh.
land.
How does she know? Have you ever written it down?
Well,
Has
no,
she
I've
seen
obviously
the lack of the extra K?
Obviously, we're basically married, and you can't be with me for that long without me trying to explain Kingdom Hearts story to you. So,
You're such a
Chris is
romantic
basically
Chris,
married.
but
You heard it here
basically
first.
married.
not to mention, I have an expensive statue of Riku from Kingdom Hearts 2 on my desk all the time. So, yeah.
Okay. Well,
All
that's
right.
good news. It sounds like everything's going really well for you, Chris.
And
Except for that Dragon Age stuff, but who else
Dragon
would like to
Age
share?
stuff.
What
I
was
think
the game?
Dragon Quest.
Dragon
doesn't
Quest.
matter.
It doesn't matter. Who else would like to share? Hey, Vince, what have you been up to? It's been a while since you've been on the show.
It has been a while. Several months, in fact. All right. Let's see. Well, I got a haircut. I'm sure all the podcast viewers will enjoy that. So for the last few months, I have been, I don't know if I said this on the podcast already. I've been charging those bird scooters, those electric scooters that you see all around downtown. So I'll go out. I'll go out in the middle of the night and I'll just scoop them up and load them up into my car. And it's kind of like a crazy rat race that happens going after all of them. So
There's no shortage of them, that's for sure.
It's worth noting that you get paid for each one that you get, right?
Yes, and that's what makes it so like. But, no, I'm not
or
doing it out of the
you don't
kindness
just have
of
an
my
innate
heart.
drive to charge more of them than everyone else in San Diego.
No,
Vince,
wouldn't do it.
How many cars have you T-boned because they got to the bird first and you're like, no, I want that bird, and they drive off and you just T-bone them and take it from their car?
I have so many stories, but I have not hit anybody yet. I've seen a car flip over trying to get a bird.
Wow,
that's pretty good.
You've witnessed that?
Yeah, it was nuts.
Jeez.
The guy was fine, but his car was it flipped over.
Was it worth?
He was fine. He wasn't fine before that.
Charging a bird?
No, but man.
But Vince, the way you described it to me, it sounds somewhat like Pokemon Go, right? I think
it pretty much is. Like, it's insane.
Right?
So, like, you have the app on your phone, and the way it works is it shows a grid, it's like Google Maps of like, San Diego. And it'll show you all of them exactly where they are, like their pinpoint, and how much they're worth, if you can get there first and scan it in on your phone. And so it's like, at that point, everybody knows where they are, so it's like a rat race to just try to get there as quickly as you can. And I'm right next to, like, Pacific Beach, so there's thousands of them over there. And it's just like a free-for-all.
So you're rich.
No, I'm not rich.
How many about a night do you think you average?
On a good night, I mean, like, if I'm really, I've done 50 in one night, 50 scooters.
How do you
Wow.
charge them? Do you just like plug them into your wall?
Yeah, they send us chargers to use, and then we like plug them into the wall and we can charge them. And then I have to wake up super early and release them.
Question for you:
all in the
does the electricity cost on your bill outweigh that of what you make?
Yes, and that's one of the big questions people ask. It actually only costs like a couple cents to charge each one fully. So like my electricity bill, even doing it a full month, only goes up like $10 a month at the most.
Okay.
So if you get more than one, your bill's paid off.
Pretty much.
Well, you know what? You just got a new competitor. Screw it.
Oh, no.
We've got a whole,
Chris,
all
you
of our
should quit your
listeners
job.
are now going to go be competitors with you.
Oh no.
It's pretty crazy though. Like there's so many people that it's like their full-time job, and I don't know how they do it, but they find a way.
My wife appreciates your efforts. Maeve is really into the
Life
scooter,
finds a way.
the scooter scene in San Diego. She loves using those because she works a lot downtown.
Oh yeah.
So it's just easy to just pick one up and go wherever you want, especially because parking's terrible down there. So.
Oh god, yeah. It's the best perk about it is that when I scan it in, it unlocks, so I can just ride them around all night if I want.
Oh, cool.
And so like if I have like 20 scooters and I had like 20 friends over, I'd be like, let's all go ride to PB. We'll be an army of scooter people.
That's actually absolutely a thing we should do.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
We should. I mean, yeah. Any night you guys want to come down, I will have 20 scooters.
I'm not even like saying that lightly or joking. Like that is the thing that we need to.
Yeah, that would be fun.
I feel like we can make a new Yum Chunks video about that. Scooter warriors.
Oh my god.
Let's not mix business and pleasure.
Well, what's funny is that I've met a lot of people who hate those scooter things, and they'll like actively try to destroy them. I remember one time I was in Denver, and they have their own system, which I think is the same company. And I remember seeing people just like picking them up and throwing them in trash cans. Just how much they hated them. I'm like, I don't know what is inspired hatred for these things.
Yeah. I know what.
But I know a couple people who actively hate them.
There are two main reasons I feel. One of them is that there are a lot of people who use them that don't use common courtesy when riding around on them. So they are causing traffic holdups and crashing into people and whatever. But I think the other big reason is that people just don't like new things. And it's a big new trend that's popular and people are happy.
True.
So people who aren't happy just have to,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they started in Santa Monica. And so they're obviously all over where I'm at, and I work in Santa Monica. So I remember seeing them over a year ago when they first started popping up and stuff. And now they're obviously like, wildfire everywhere. But people will just like push them over, like just like old ladies walking down the street, go out of their way and just put like they're all lined up, and then they'll just like knock them over for just like.
It's okay. They'll be dead soon.
This crazy old lady was like recording me as I was releasing him into the
scooter accident.
This old lady from La Jolla, as I was releasing him, was like, "You can't do this. This is against the law. I know somebody who's a lawyer." And she was like recording me the whole time, and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna go put these on the sidewalk, and then I'm gonna leave. and that was my interaction with her. So I was like, well, I'm sorry you feel this way, and I wish I could say
about.
that was the only time, but I've had like a dozen instances where that happens.
So I wasn't part of the Aquaman podcast that you guys did, but I will say that the best part of it was Chewie's, Matt's little segment about how much he hates old people, and it was the best podcast we've ever had because of that.
We
moment.
know what you voted
yes.
for.
Ryan, I'm very appreciative.
I think you and me share the same.
Thank you so much
matter.
for acknowledging.
Ooh, wait! I got a good reason to hate old people. There was this lady at Costco the other day that so she slid slightly on like a piece of like frozen fruit that was on the ground because it was like a sample or something. She didn't even fall over. She just like slid slightly. And she said she broke her back, and she demanded that like we had to pay all her medical bills, and it became like this huge thing where like the warehouse manager had to get involved. And
I fell in a hole at a movie theater. I was at I won't say which one, but there's a movie theater nearby that got converted to a luxury cinemas. It was regular seating, and they converted it to armchair seating, and they hadn't installed handrails. But they had the theater open, and so like if the recliner seats all the way up, there would be a big gap between where your row ended and where the next row started. And because the recliners have tall backs, it's not like a foot or foot and a half like a regular one. It's a good like 3-4 feet. And it was when I was seeing Rogue One, and I got out of my seat to go leave to get concessions, and I stepped in that gap, and I was swallowed up by it.
Wait, like while the movie was happening?
I was stuck there for before 10 days.
Oh god,
it was before the movie, but I literally, I wasn't walking, and I stepped, and my foot slipped, and my entire body slid into this crack, and I just fell into a crevice, and I twisted
similar?
my leg, and I was limping for a week, and
everybody
who was with me was like, "Why did you not say anything to management?" And I'm like, I don't know. I could have that was a legitimate
because we're not awful people,
right? Well,
that's
it wasn't my first instinct to say, "Oh, yes, I can exploit this."
I could blame someone else for something that possibly hurt and or misfortuned me.
So
ultimately, I walked away from the situation. If I had actually broken my leg, which was a very real possibility because of the way I landed, then obviously management would have showed up and it would have been a thing. But I didn't even think about it. I was more embarrassed than anything.
When you fell into that crevice, was it similar to Sokka's falling into the hole?
No, because my entire body went into it.
Yeah, so did Sokka's.
Well, his whole body did too.
Maeve was you were gone. Like I saw you and then you had disappeared. Like there was no trace of you.
Like, have you seen Have you seen that old Tom Hanks movie, Money Pit? That movie is hilarious. There's that scene where he's like walking and on the second floor, and there's a hole in the floor, and there's a carpet. So he falls through the floor, but the carpet keeps him. So it's just his head.
Oh yeah,
above. He's stuck there.
That's a very Sokka. Yeah, that's a Sokka thing.
You guys should watch
anyway, I brought that up because I had a legitimate situation where if I wanted to go after the theater, I could have, and I would have had, no pun intended, ground to stand on. But but then you hear about these I slid for 3 inches.
Yeah,
and she said she broke her back.
I think I said that in the Aquaman episode, but it's not an age, it's a mentality. And
it is a mentality,
and
yes.
They are just, old people are just awful.
Yes.
Yep, nailed it.
Excellent, yes. All right, anybody else? Who wants to go next?
I'll go. So,
go.
What else? Let's see. I watched a couple movies. I saw Roma as well, and saw Mary Poppins. I saw that Bird Box movie.
Oh yeah, I watched.
That was
I watched that too.
I actually enjoyed that more than I thought I would. It was getting kind of panned, and I didn't think it was that bad.
Let's fight, Sean.
You hated it?
Yeah.
Really? I don't know. I thought it was okay. I had problems with it for sure. There were issues.
Chris is the reason why you had those expectations. For people who
maybe
heard good things and then went in and hated it.
I was expecting
hate
just a really bad B grade type stuff, but I thought it was quality made. I had issues with it for sure. Anyways, but
sure. I mean, it had shades of The Happening. Let's be real here.
Yeah, no, that was some of my biggest problems with it. Was that it reminded me of The Happening, which is one of my least favorite movies of all time. Though
I had heard there was a Phantom of the Opera situation going on where 2 different people basically wrote the same screenplay at the same time, and one of them beat theirs to the theater.
They're probably talking about A Quiet Place in reference to it.
What?
Are you that we're referring to, Chewy?
No, I wasn't. The Bird Box supposedly, and I can't verify this, so grain of salt. But supposedly the script for Bird Box has been around for a lot longer than the movie has.
Yeah,
and they just decided to make. I don't know if that's true or not. That's what I heard.
Well, it for what it's better than The Happening at the very least. Take that for how you want to take it.
Right, but then I see people comparing it to The Happening, saying it's not as good as The Happening. The Happening was a classic.
No,
I've been seeing that on my Facebook, and I just don't.
Wait.
We're in the darkest timeline.
I enjoyed.
Did you just say The Classic in reference to The Happening?
I enjoyed watching The Happening more.
It's a classic
because it's hilarious.
For the wrong reasons, Vince.
Yeah, but I also will say that Bird Box did the dumbest thing ever, which was give away the ending at the beginning, so it lost all tension.
Kind of, yeah. We won't get into spoilers and stuff because people haven't seen it. We're not going to talk about this episode, but I think if you haven't seen it, it's worth an evening. It's entertaining.
Yeah.
I don't think it's amazing or anything. And
sounds like you think it's amazing.
I do.
I really want to do an episode on Black Mirror on that episode.
Yeah,
I actually haven't watched it yet, so I gotta take a minute to watch it.
But I also saw the movie Replicas in theater, and that is just a delight. I highly recommend going to a theater.
Why did you say that?
You don't have to pay. I recommend going somewhere you don't have to pay to watch it. You're in an empty theater with friends, and you could just talk as much as you want. And that movie will not disappoint you. It is hysterical.
Sounds like a good time.
Yeah,
all right. Well,
can we all do that? Can we all go see this movie together?
Yes, I would be willing to
after
go see
riding
it again.
scooters around town.
Yes,
ride scooters.
Let's ride the scooters to the theater to see Replica.
Oh,
this is a
now we're talking.
This is a whole
It's
reunion.
Yes.
Let's get some margaritas. Okay, all right. We're on the level
some
here.
Fancy hats.
So yeah, it's gonna be a good night. So those are a couple movies, but the most important thing is I lived a movie this last week. It was a thriller. It was a law thriller because I served on jury duty and I was put on a trial. So that's exciting.
What
sort of trial? I guess you can't really talk about it, can you?
No, I can. The trial's over, so I can say whatever I want.
Right.
Also, I was just an alternate juror, so I didn't actually have to deliberate. But I got to sit there for the whole trial.
I'm a lot less excited about this.
Well, I still was there for the whole trial, and it was like a video game. It was like a Phoenix Wright, or it was like a CSI.
How many times did you object?
And then
this is what is it? This is Scranton Strangler. This is Toby.
Yes, and we found him guilty, going to jail. No, but seriously, yeah, he's going to jail. So,
all right.
Wait, what did he do?
Actually, we found him not guilty. And by we, I mean not me, because like I said, I didn't deliberate. But it was just...
Sean, this is not as good as I was expecting.
This is getting worse and worse.
Okay, I'm not painting a very good picture, but it was, I don't know, it was really entertaining. I loved it. Like, you sit there, and it was like the lawyers, like, presenting evidence, like they give you a notebook, so you're like taking notes. And you're like, well, the door was locked because the case was this homeless guy broke into this building, an abandoned building, and was like staying there. And it's illegal. He was trespassing, so they arrested him. And that was the thing. Like the trial was whether he was guilty of trespassing and sleeping over, staying in this building that he wasn't supposed to be in. So they had like this evidence of all, like, how he got into the door, and there was a string attached to the lock that he wound under the door frame so he could pull the string, and then there was like photos of like the sleeping arrangements, and they had the cop on trial, and they questioned the cop, like, and so I'm like taking like, oh, is he reliable? Like, I don't know.
It sounds like you just convicted MacGyver.
Yeah.
Oh man,
what have you done?
Those were the kind of people that we needed.
Wait, they have trials for homeless people sleeping places now?
Because it was really weird because it was like, who's pressing charges against this homeless guy? Like, who cares where this homeless guy was sleeping? So I did think that was weird. Like, do they care? They usually just like, get out of here, right?
The whole time Sean was talking about him taking notes, all I could imagine was him jotting things down on a notepad, and then somebody looking over his shoulder, and it's just like a naked female stick figure.
What?
You guys...
Okay.
You guys probably don't know exactly the location I'm talking about, but the Cocos in like the UTC mall area, or it's like right across from it.
Yeah, I think
so.
I
it's
actually
been out of business for years. Like, I'm talking years, but the sign is still up on the building, and apparently there had been like a colony of homeless people living in that building for several years before people found out, because nobody even went in there. And just recently they like kicked them all out. But it was like, I'm not kidding, they had like colonized in the abandoned Coco's cafe.
Well, send them my way. I'll enact justice. Full justice.
Oh no!
It sounds like
I feel even worse now that you just put a homeless person in jail just for trying to survive.
No, I just said we found him not guilty. I was joking about that.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you. Oh, yes, right. You reversed it. Okay.
Right, that's okay.
Wait, so did you say he's not guilty because you didn't think he was actually doing it, or you're like, you know what?
So
it's okay.
because I was not part, I was the alternate. So if some of what normal jury died or something, then I would be like, "You're in, kid. You go get him." Then I would have deliberated. But the whole time, like, I still have to think about it, like, come to my own conclusions in case I am needed. I was like, okay, this guy's obviously guilty. But then they came back with the not guilty verdict, and I didn't know until they read it. And so other side story, one of my friend coworkers happened to be on the same jury. It was super weird. I don't know how that happened. So anyways, afterwards we were talking, and I'm like, what happened? How did you guys deliberate? I thought he was going to be super guilty. He's like, yeah, but then the prosecutor shot herself in the foot because she said this, this, and this, and they weren't trying, like, it was this big thing, but in the end they found him not guilty. So anyways,
so he got away with sleeping in
and then like I felt bad because he was like this big guy and he's in a wheelchair, and because he got let go, he was on his own leaving the courthouse. He's a homeless guy back out. He's homeless. Like, it just was really sad, obviously, but at least he wasn't going to jail, I guess. I don't know.
Huh.
Anyways.
Yeah.
I don't know. Now I just have conflicted feelings.
I know, right?
Yeah,
See?
me too. I'm very conflicted.
It's great. There's no
Maybe
black
he
and
should
white.
have gone to jail because they would have given him food at least.
I was kind of thinking, like, I
No,
wonder
I was
if they were
thinking the same
trying
thing.
to send him to, like, you know what I mean? Like, maybe they were trying to, because he was a veteran, and he broke into a VA building, like, on the veterans.
I mean, if
Canvas
this
or
guy
something.
wants to get into jail that badly, though, he can just go stab somebody. Like, if he really wants
he
to,
doesn't
it
want to
wouldn't be
hurt
that
anyone.
hard.
I think we're making a
Yeah.
leap, assuming that he wanted to get to jail. Yeah, okay.
I don't know. Well, this is definitely some moral
This is the
grays
podcast
here
now,
that
guys.
we're not equipped to discuss on this podcast.
Ryan hit the nail on the head. We are not equipped for this. So probably best to change.
All right, anyways, yeah,
Yeah.
that was my exciting week, though, in any case, aside from Roma. Roma was good.
Okay,
but
I'll say this, Sean. I'm happy for you for getting life experience. I think that's what's for you. That's what we gain out of this, and that's good.
I
Good job,
appreciate it.
Sean.
Thank you.
All right. All right. Should I go? Or someone else go?
It's just you and Ryan left.
All right.
Oh,
Someone's
yeah.
gotta go.
You go for it. Go for it, man.
I'm back to school, so I'm teaching again. As far as what I've been consuming, I've been watching season 2 of Atlanta, and I rewatched season 1 because I couldn't remember what had happened in season 1 really, and the answer was not really anything. So I mean, it's enjoyable. I really like that show a lot, so I'm glad I went back and rewatched it, but I didn't really need to after watching season 2. But any of you guys watch that?
I've seen a couple
Atlanta.
episodes, but
yeah.
Yeah, I love it. I think it's excellent. I'm watching that. Did I say in the last podcast my PS4 is broken?
no. Yes.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
still broken.
This is
So
news to me.
I stopped playing Spider-Man at 80% on my save file, and I haven't been able to resume. I'm gonna have to send my PS4 in. So
Yeah,
I'm
like
still
I said,
bummed
if
about
you
that.
need detail, I can get you details on where to send it and stuff, because they will do it for free. I think they'll
That's
even
good.
pay for shipping. So they like send you a box to ship it in, and they supposedly pay for it. So
I would very much appreciate that because I want to finish Spider-Man. Anyway, so on topic of going back to school, our spring musical this year is Les Miserables.
Ooh.
Just found out last week, and all the students are freaking out. And we watched the movie Les Mis for over the course of a couple days in class this week. I was struggling about whether we should show the movie or we should show like a stage production of it, and ultimately decided on the movie because it's not really everyone's thing, and it's easier to follow the story in the movie, I think, even though I think the stage version is superior.
mm-hmm.
But also, if you show a stage version, then the kids will get it in their heads that because it's on stage, this is the way that it has to be done.
yeah,
And for one, that's an unrealistic expectation because ours is going to be much lower budget than any kind of professional Les Miserables. But also just not to overwhelm anyone thinking that we have to build this giant thing or whatever. So
Will
Just
Russell will be in it.
I mean, I don't know if we can get him. I mean, he can't really sing very well, but he's
exactly.
I mean, as a character, he's a good Javert, but he's definitely not a guy you want to have following you over the course of 16 years. But he can't sing.
So Matt, let me ask you: since you showed them the movie, is the idea that because it's a movie, there's already like this layer of imagination and abstraction between what will eventually become your play, whereas if you show a play to them, that's more real and they think it's more achievable? Is that kind of what I'm hearing? Like,
sort of. I mean, ideally what you would do is you would read the script. But I know that if I assign a script to my students, like, it's less likely that they're actually going to read through it. But Chewy, ideally you would want to read
Can it take place in space this time?
It can, it won't.
Why not?
But
you heard it here first.
But ideally, you would want to read the script so that you aren't influenced by any kind of, any kind of bias. But because there's no way that it's going to be the movie.
Send them pictures of my ginger brawl from this year. That'll give them.
I will. I'm gonna. I actually planned on it. For the listeners, for our annual gingerbread house making competition, Ginger Brawl, which we have a video documentary of on our Yum Chunks channel. Sean built the barricade from Les Mis, and it was one of my favorites from this year. So
it was really good.
Actually.
You should be. It was excellent. But yeah. So that's what we're facing. We have to build a really cool barricade, and that's going to be like our big come together thing this year as a class, because the characters in the fiction build the barricade, but our class are the actual ones that are going to be physically building it. So it's going to be a bonding experience for us, like it is for the characters. So that'll be fun. Yeah,
Really good.
Life
really
imitates art.
Exactly.
Oh wait, random question: has anyone seen the John Wick 3 trailer yet? I have not.
No. I have.
You know what?
That's saving that for later, Vince.
Well, okay. I have. How is it, Chris? Just tell me in 5 words.
That movie looks ridiculously cool.
It was like 12.
The movie looks... Wow, that was 5 words. No, that was 5 words. Well done.
Yeah.
All right. Well, anyway.
And then, Sean.
Yeah.
I despise you
for
bringing Wish Kid into my life. I hate you.
Wait, for bringing
my
what?
hate knows no bounds for bringing Wish Kid into my life.
Did you actually start watching it?
Yeah.
Oh no.
Again, to remind the listeners, for those who haven't listened to every episode recently, my wife and I have been watching through every piece of Macaulay Culkin fiction that we could find. And we watched the other night. We watched Getting Even with Dad. I don't know if any of you guys remember that movie.
I do not.
Yeah,
you do? Yeah. That's no good. But it's also one of those frustrating movies that could have been good really easily with one more script rewrite.
Yeah.
And it's just it's just so obviously could have been good, but isn't. But anyway, Wish Kid. Saturday morning cartoon from the 90s starring Macaulay Culkin, and the best part about it is that he has these little live action video bits
I forgot all about those.
And they're hilarious because they're all all the video edits are all Windows Movie Maker level, the stupid 3D wipes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And he always says just something just really dumb. But they're delightful. They're just delightful. But then the cartoon is just bad animation and screaming the entire time. And I hate it.
I don't remember much from it, but I remember whenever I watch it, just constantly being disappointed because he never would wish. He doesn't wish nearly enough. Am I remembering that right?
Well, I will watch 2 episodes, and he's wished in both of them.
Okay.
But, it's like a monkey's paw wish premise, right?
Yeah.
He wishes for a thing, and then he goes on a wacky adventure, and then it goes awry somehow, and, be careful what you wish for. But it's always, it's such a lazy premise for a TV show because it's basically what do we want to have him do this week? I don't know. Put him in the jungle. All right. I guess I'll wish I'm in the jungle. What are we going to do this week? I don't know. He's a ninja. All right. And there's no rules. There's no confines to the show. So it's just whatever situation they want to throw their characters in and have them start screaming. So yeah,
well, you're welcome. My gift to you.
I will never forgive you for this. I mean, I've never had cancer, but I can't imagine it's this bad. All right, Ryan. Take it away, Ryan.
Oh, okay. Well, I definitely can't follow that up. But Well, for the past couple of days, I've actually been sick, and for the first time in my professional career, I actually use a sick day, which is kind of demoralizing, actually. I held out this long, but anyway, so on the plus side, it actually gave me an opportunity to catch up on some TV shows and video games, so that's a good thing. Cool. Yeah, I watched this show. If no one's ever watched it, Great News. Has anyone heard of it?
With Tina Fey?
She's in the second season. Yes.
I've heard of it, but I haven't watched it.
I cannot recommend this show enough to this group. For fans of 30 Rock, SNL, Arrested Development. Kimmy Schmidt is right on the mark for what we call good TV shows.
Okay. All right. What's it on?
It's a weird delivery. It's actually on Netflix, so go for it. It's only 2 seasons. Unfortunately, it was canceled this year.
That's a sign of a good comedy, right?
Yeah, exactly. So that's how I can't give her better endorsement than the fact that it was canceled this year. But it's freaking fantastic. I'm probably gonna watch it all again in like a couple months because you marathon a show, and this, like I said, I was sick the last couple of days, so I had a chance to do that. But I really want to watch it all again because it was freaking just it was so good, just so great show. So recommend that to you guys. And then video game wise, this is just a travesty of a video game, Fallout 4. I kind of talked to you guys about that. Sean and I watched that recap or that analysis video. Just I could do a whole podcast on that. But anyway, this other video game called Darkest Dungeon, pretty good.
Yeah, I played that.
Actually, really good. Yeah, that was good. I could talk about that for a long time. Chris, you introduced me to Hades. They just released a new patch on Tuesday and kind of already explored the content from that new patch. Fantastic game. It's a roguelike. It's good times. You may have actually mentioned that already on a previous podcast, but but the real highlight is the game The Witness, which
you had never played that?
I had not played it. Well, I had played it at E3 like 3 years
I think
ago.
that's right, because I remember when I got it, you had mentioned you had played it.
Yeah, and it's funny because when I played it at E3, I think Chris, maybe you were there with me, or maybe it was PSX.
I think I've been there with every visit. Oh yeah. No. It was it was the first PSX in Vegas. I remember now. They had like a little booth in the back, and it had like the art of the environments for the walls and stuff. Yeah. We even talked. I think we even talked to Jonathan Blow while we were there.
I think we did. Yeah, and I think I remember. Or rather, I don't remember being impressed overly. But man, I regret not playing this game sooner. Oh my god. Like, in terms of puzzle games, it's a 10 out of 10. I don't know if I've ever just played a game and been like, oh, this is a perfect video game.
I don't know if my brain...
It's one of my favorite games of the last 5 years. It's right up there with The Witcher 3 for me and a handful of others. That game is. Have you got to? I won't go into spoilers or anything. But have you got to the part of the game where I can't even describe it without potentially?
I know this is so funny because I over the last couple of days I'm like, man, am I going to talk about this game during the podcast? Because it's going to be impossible to talk about.
But it's so good, and you want to
I'm not done yet. I just keep asking myself, when are they going to introduce the machine gun so I can start shooting people? I don't understand this game. It's kind of confusing that I'm not able to kill people yet. So I don't know. Anyone that's listening, they might be a little deterred by.
I don't think my brain has.
I feel like
ever
you're making
worked
a dig
as
at
hard
some potential listeners
than when I played that game.
I was a dig more against video game audiences.
Okay.
Yeah. That's where that was directed. But no, all kidding aside, one of the just best pieces of anything created by man.
You're not exaggerating though. I had
never heard of this, and so I just Googled it like I do for a lot of things on the podcast, and I didn't know immediately who Jonathan Blow was when you mentioned him, but I am now seeing that he created Braid.
Yeah, he's in gaming circles. He's
that's an incredible game, and that game opened the whole for me. That made me aware of the indie game scene and led me to play a whole bunch of other really cool games that I wouldn't have otherwise. So,
and I'm glad you brought that up, Matt, because I was planning on talking about Braid, and when I played Braid originally, I actually never finished Braid because I actually wasn't. I wasn't impressed, and so now I am absolutely going to go back and play Braid because I think I clearly didn't give it enough chance. If the creator of that created this masterpiece, I clearly did not explore that game thoroughly enough.
Probably not.
Yeah,
I was blown away by Braid.
And I'll fully admit that, which is kind of on a personal level, kind of because I take it at a point of pride to explore and give everything a fair chance. So clearly, I did not. Mm-hmm. Anyway, that aside, Witness, if I'm being honest, I hate you guys for making me record this podcast right now and preventing me from playing that video game.
Like, I think Witness, I think the best, like, if you had to introduce video games to someone who's never played video games, I think Witness would be, like, seriously in the top contender for, like, a game to have someone play who's never played a video game before.
Right, the potential of what a game really could be.
But at the same time, I think that game is so to the extreme of, like, if you don't play games, you will not be able to figure it out.
Well, that's why I think it's so brilliant. It works on both sides of the spectrum, I think.
I imagine if you put a new person in that game, they would just be lost. They would not understand how to play.
No, I disagree.
I don't know. I honestly could do a whole podcast on that game.
I guess
and the point that you guys are discussing is one of thousands to discuss about this game, and I would argue both sides, and I would.
I mean, I'm not arguing. I love that game. I'm not arguing that. I just think is not new. Like a new gamer, it's not for them at all.
Well, anyway, besides those interesting topics, I did also watch Roma. Fantastic. Bird Box also watched. I also compared it. It's hard not to compare that movie to Quiet Place, but also also to The Happening, which to anyone who takes Bird Box's side as a good movie, which I do, I think it is a good movie. You can't fault the premise of The Happening if you're going to take Bird Box's side. I'll state that because it's
the premise of The Happening.
If you're willing to believe one, you have to be willing to believe the other.
Yeah, it's
right?
the execution.
It's not the premise alone. It's the execution and things that just I think this is where it's similar to The Quiet Place, is that I think the characters and the story and everything of The Quiet Place works so well that you could ignore those nitpicky things in terms of how the monsters were. Exactly. But I don't think Bird Box was that same level, so all of those things were much more apparent. So it didn't make any sense, and that completely detracted from the film because there wasn't the rest of the quality of this is a really interesting story, or really you kind of get what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, 100%. And it's funny because I was having the same discussion with Paul, and so I can't wait for him to hear his opinion on this podcast. But that was exactly what I was trying to describe to Paul, is that I compared it so closely with The Quiet Place due to premise, but because Quiet Place I thought was a superior film, I could not ignore, but kind of put aside the nitpicky things, whereas Bird Box, I ended up kind of focusing in on those nitpicky things because I felt like the film didn't give me enough of the gravitas that Quiet Place did. Yeah. And then therefore I kind of ended up reducing down to A Happening. And by no means is Bird Box on the same level of film as A Happening.
I would say it's pretty much like in between the two, because I think The Quiet Place is fantastic.
Yeah, no, exactly.
I would say it's right in the middle. For me, the problem with it, and I know now we're getting into a Bird Box review, it had everything to do with, I think, the editing. Like, in the editing room, I think this could have been redone and been made into a significantly better movie, just in the way that it's structured. Maybe. And that would have changed everything. Because I think, cinematography-wise, it's fine. Acting-wise, it's great. It really just has to do with how it was edited and how the story is presented. I really think that it takes away a lot of the tension. And a lot.
Yeah, there's definitely credence to that. So.
For A Quiet Place, it's all tension.
Yeah. Before we get into a Bird Box hole, should we move on? Should we?
Yes, please.
We should move on because we have a lot to talk about in this episode. Yeah, this is already one of our longer sharing circle segments. Probably because we haven't all been on the same episode in a while, but I think it's definitely time to move on. So, all right. So, like mentioned earlier, this is the 2018 wrap-up episode. We talked a couple ways about how we would approach this, and ultimately the way that we're approaching it is with our first annual Chunkies Awards is what we're calling it.
Trademark.
Everybody eat your Chunkies.
So we will be awarding several Chunkies this evening. The Chunkies were decided by a Google form that we put out on our social media, and people had a chance to fill out their picks. For most of the categories, we had several nominees already in place, and then an option to write in your own nominee. Some of the categories was purely write-in. So some of the categories are a little scattershot. We have categories where there's just like a whole bunch of different things that people voted for. But the way we'll do this is we'll go through and we'll say what our personal picks were for the category, and then I'll talk about what won, maybe what came close to winning, and if there were any interesting write-in ones that people added, I'll make sure to mention those.
Sounds good.
I think that's how we'll go about doing it. So should we get started?
Let's do it.
Okay.
Let's
get started.
Somewhere.
Jump Chunks headquarters in beautiful...
Everywhere.
Southern
Southern California.
This is
That's easy enough.
the first annual Chunkies Awards. I'm going to kick this off with the topic that we're just talking about. So this is the category of favorite video game. All right. Why don't we go around and start in a circle? Should we have an order?
Let me start it off. I have
it.
no points in this discussion.
Vince votes for Kingdom Hearts 1.
I am not going to be a part of this discussion other than to make comedic banter and to slightly...
All right.
Maybe,
In the interest of
weave
time,
in
I'm
an
going to
idea.
shut that down right now.
Good idea. Okay, move on.
All right. Chris, what do you got?
So on this one, I voted for God of War.
Okay.
You can listen to our God of War podcast from way back when to understand why I voted for it. I was tempted to vote for Hades though, but I figured it's in early access, doesn't technically count as being released, I guess.
Well, in a sentence or two, why God of War?
I mean, everything. It was such a monumental shift from what it was, which if you listen to the previous one, I'm not a huge fan of the original series. It was a little too dumbed down action game for me.
Mm-hmm.
But this one's like the exact opposite. The combat went to the polar opposite to where it's very difficult and it's rewarding. It feels really good and it's very built into the world and the characters and everything. I mean, I could just talk about it forever. Again, the music, the graphics, the voice acting, the story, freaking everything.
Okay, great. Ryan, how about you?
So I don't usually play launch games or not launch games, but games that
just came out.
Yeah, that. So really, my only contribution this year is in 2018 is Monster Hunter World, which I did get at launch, or when it launched, and played quite thoroughly to completion. And I thought it was really good, and I think it's deserving of Game of the Year titles. I did watch Spider-Man and God of War and other things at people's houses when they played them. Usually Chris, but so yeah, they're good.
I watched all the cutscenes for the Spider-Man game, and it made a great movie.
I actually did think that. Yeah. All right, Sean, how about you?
This one was actually tough because I think the obvious answer is what I went with, which is God of War. I mean, we did a whole episode on that, so it would be hard not to. I almost went with Spider-Man just because I think I more thoroughly played that, and I think on a minute-to-minute basis, I probably was having more fun. But I think God of War is a better game, so I went with that. But the other kind of struggle I had was I played I played a fair amount of indie games this year, and I know sometimes those are just more, better experience, not better, more of my favorite experiences are through indie games. And so one specifically, I think I mentioned on this, called Return of the Obra Dinn. I almost wrote that in because that was such good. But I went with God of War pretty much for everything Chris said. I think to sum it up for me, it took a franchise that I was bored and kind of turned off by and just completely made me fall in love with the characters, the world, and the gameplay. So,
okay. I almost went with Spider-Man. I think that's the game I spent the most time on this year. But I didn't get to finish it. So, but my vote is a write-in vote. I voted for Golf with Your Friends. I think if I talk about which game I had the most fun playing, I almost wrote in the Jackbox Party Pack, if we're being honest. But if we're talking about just purely entertainment wise, I think those are the games I had the most fun playing. But Golf with Your Friends, it's exactly what you think it's going to be. It's golf, and hopefully friends. And but I will say a lot of the entertainment is derived out of the friends element of Golf with Your Friends. It's a great game to kick back on Skype, and just kind of mess around in a goofy miniature golf environment. You don't even have to go miniature golfing. You just do it right here. You can play everybody.
But isn't that like miniature golfing is so easy to just go and do? Now we're even.
What if I don't want to leave?
Well, we should do scooters and mini golf.
Okay, let's do that.
Or
go home and play golf with your friends after the movie. But I'm a sucker for games that have workshop support for level editors. I really love seeing like the people who manage to make levels better than the original creators, and the people who make them way worse. I think those opposite ends of the spectrum make for, and you buy a game, it's infinite. So I'm a sucker for that. So that was my vote. So for the category video game, the nominees that I put up for vote were Red Dead Redemption 2, Smash Bros. Ultimate, God of War, Spider-Man, Monster Hunter Worlds, Rise of the Tomb Raider, and
which I'm now realizing is a typo. That should have been Shadow.
Oh, right.
Yeah, Shadow.
That is. It should have been Shadow of the Tomb Raider. Oops, my bad. And Fallout 76 because I thought it was good for a laugh. And we had a couple other write-ins. We had Soul Calibur 6 and we had Garfield Kart. The Steam Classic Garfield.
How did we miss that one?
I know. We had a tie for the winner. Sean, are you going to put in a sound effect or something?
That was it. That was me putting in that effect, everyone. That was definitely not one of us just making
tied for the winners. At 25% of the vote each are Smash Bros. Ultimate and Red Dead Redemption 2.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yes.
That's actually not. That is not surprising.
Not really surprising, right? But I do think both of those games should be recognized as Game of the Year. Like I'm fine with that.
I have my qualms with Ultimate. I would not. I mean, not saying that Ultimate's a bad game, but I'm saying I have qualms that I would definitely knock points off of it for.
Okay.
Well, as someone who's played both of those, I just think, yes, I'm fine with that. I think they are both exceptionally great games. I get what you're saying, Chris, but anyways.
Well, take the trophy, cut it in half.
All right.
There you go. All right, on to the next category.
Our very first Chunky.
First Chunky is given out. Now we got to have some weird segment by some presenter, or when do we do the montage of everyone who died this year? When do we get to that part? All right, next up, we got Best No-Look Pass in an NFL game.
Oh, okay. We're doing that. Okay.
This is a category that Chris insisted I put in. 100% of the
vote. Chris, what kind of weirdos do you think listen to this podcast that also watch sports?
Chris, why don't you give out the award for Best No-Look Pass in an NFL game? Drum roll, please. Vince, do a drum roll.
I love it. So the award for Best No-Look Pass in the NFL game, and for anybody, just for clarity, that means he was throwing the ball to the opposite side of his body that he wasn't looking. And that goes to young quarterback Patrick Mahomes of the Kansas City Chiefs.
Of course he's going to win that award.
A delight to watch, but probably one of the worst technical QBs I've ever seen.
Because he's a shortstop. That's why. He throws the ball like he's a shortstop.
He does not play football. He just does whatever he wants out on the field, which works. It's not a bad thing. It works.
On to the next category.
All right.
I have a lot to talk about.
Can we no longer talk about sports for 2019?
Stupid Phillip Rivers.
That's
God,
the most I want to
it.
talk about sports on this podcast in the whole 2019.
Yes, I finally got some in.
There you go. I did that. That's just to ease your pain. All right, on to favorite TV show. This was a category where we didn't have nominees. This was purely write-in. So, what do you guys think for this year? What TV show struck your fancy?
I wrote in. I think this is probably not a surprise. The Haunting of Hill House.
Okay.
Yeah, same here. Not a surprise.
Same.
Okay.
Yeah.
Chewy?
Chewy, you go first.
I think I put Series of Unfortunate Events.
All right.
Yeah, which we haven't talked about yet, but
Yeah.
I think we've all seen, so that's an episode coming up soon, right?
Might be next episode.
Vince, what about you?
Well, I was a basic person and put Game of Thrones season 7. But even though I know that it wasn't this year, technically I'm counting it because we didn't have one.
Shenanigans. Maybe. I'll let it slide, I suppose.
But I recently rewatched it, and I actually think that it's better than a lot of people give it credit for. I know.
No comment.
All right.
Well, you can't have a comment.
I don't want one. We had a lot of write-ins for this. Not everybody voted in the write-in categories, but I'll just name off some of the shows that people listed. We had a few votes for The Good Place.
That's a good one.
Yeah, we had a good amount of votes for The Good Place.
Yep.
Let's see. We got a South Park in there. We got a Queer Eye in there.
I watched that.
We got Lip Sync Battle.
Did not watch that.
Is Hot Ones a show?
Yes.
What about Hilda?
Is Hot Ones the one where they eat chicken wings while they interview?
Yes. That's a YouTube thing. I don't know if that
YouTube
counts,
channel.
but I guess
Oh,
that counts.
well, you know what? Next year we need to have a YouTube category.
I would actually have a lot of fun. Anyways,
Yeah,
I'm going to vote for
I'd
us.
have a hard
put
time.
in Yum Chunks YouTube shows.
See, we had a Brooklyn Nine-Nine, which we had a few
all of
Brooklyn
these are
Nine-Nines.
good, by the way. These are
We
all
had a few
like,
Brooklyn Nine-Nines, which is cool because it got saved, which is nice.
Yeah, that.
Well, and
we had a
Good
few
Place,
votes.
and anyways,
We had a few votes for Series of Unfortunate Events, but and then we had a Family Guy. Did I say that? Yeah. Okay.
That's unfortunate.
But the winner, which ultimately was decided by us, is The Haunting of Hill House.
Yay! But
Well, it
what do
wasn't
you mean
just-
decided by us? As in,
Well, I mean,
You
we
voted
had
for
more votes than just the three. You said three of you guys voted for Hill House, right?
yes.
Okay. Well, we had
Yeah.
a good amount more than that, but
Oh, okay.
but still, you guys made up a big percentage of it winning. So
I'd say it deserves
go.
it. I really didn't think about it. I should have thought more about it because I did like that a whole lot.
So you did watch it? You
Of
just weren't
course.
on it. Oh, okay.
No, I finished it. It's just I finished it after the podcast,
Oh, okay.
unfortunately.
Well, we're gonna send the Chunky to the Hill House.
okay,
It'll be
excellent. All right, moving right along.
On its way.
Let's move. Let's go into a topic that we just never ever talk about on this podcast. So this will be a first for us to see how it goes. Let's talk music.
Oh boy.
Ruh-roh. We have favorite song and we have favorite album. Which one should I do first?
Let's start with song.
Okay, favorite song. Take it away, boys.
Boys.
I don't know. The only one I put, and this isn't even my favorite, but this is the first song that came to my head, probably because it was on the radio as I got out of my car right before I recorded this podcast, was that song by The Interrupters. You guys know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah.
That song's alright. It's catchy.
No, it's a good song. That song has actually kind of become a little like a fun joke with me, Lana, and Aaron
Oh, really?
because we went to see that band.
Oh.
Yeah, we went to see them at Ye Scallywag, which is a
Oh,
local
yeah.
music. Yeah. And they're one of the main performers, and so like it's a fun, cool song.
She's
and
Kerosene.
We all
That's what it's called. She's Kerosene.
Yeah, we all were
That's a
skanking
fun
to
one.
it or whatever. Yeah, it's a good time. That's a good pick, Sean. That's a good one.
All right, Chris, what you got?
For song, I put "Hunger" by Florence and the Machine.
Ooh.
Was that 2018?
Don't.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Verified.
don't normally talk about music, but I mean, when I first heard that song, I started texting Ryan,
Yeah,
like,
I was-
"Oh my god,
I remember that. Yeah.
yeah." And I don't do that normally. And
No,
so it stood out. It stood out to me. I was
It
like,
stood out to
"Man,
me
this
too.
song."
In fact, I think didn't I even say that? Like, why are you messaging me this, Chris? Like, this is odd of you. Why? How dare you?
Vince, how about yourself?
Well, I wrote in this song that's called "Better" by Khalid because it's really catchy, and I've been listening to it a lot.
Cool.
It's a good
I haven't
song.
heard it.
I would recommend it. It actually of all the songs I've listened to like that are kind of like really popular on the radio right now, I would say that it actually like has a good message, and like the beat is like really like easy to listen to. It's actually relaxing, but it's also like yeah, this is good. Give it a listen.
Great. Cool.
That's all I got to say about it.
That's all. Sometimes that's all you need. Ryan, how about yourself?
Yeah. So I don't talk about music much on this podcast, and I've always kind of wanted to. So here we go. We're just doing just best song right now, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, my favorite song is the song "Nobody" by Mitski. And she actually got a little more popular this year, but she's been one of my favorite artists for a couple years now, or a few years. And yeah, it's just I don't know how to describe the song. It feels a little old school. It's pretty straightforward, but it's just it hits you where it counts. Yeah.
Hey Ryan,
so that's my pick.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, Vince.
What do you think about Greta Van Fleet?
Oh, actually, yeah, I've been aware they're pretty young band.
Yes,
but they're pretty good. They have an old school vibe. They're kind of bringing back some retro, like Zeppelin style. Matt, you would actually probably dig them.
I've been listening to them a lot too.
What's it called?
Greta Van Fleet.
Well, now I wrote it.
They actually
performed
at the observatory.
Sorry, good.
I wish I went to the show, but yeah,
I considered going to that show. They performed at Coachella last year, and they were actually pretty good. They were kind of on my radar, and I was like, oh, I'll check them out, see how they are live. And they have that low V-neck cut vibe to them. If you know what I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about. I know.
Okay. Yeah. Do you? Because I don't. But yeah, they're pretty good. They're pretty fun.
Okay, for mine, I put a song called "After the Storm" by Kali Uchis. Have any of you guys heard of her?
I want to listen to it though.
I discovered her because last year I got really into, not really into, but moderately into Tyler the Creator. Actually went to his concert at the beginning of last year, and I got into Tyler the Creator because of the TV show Loader Squad. So I got really into that show. I started listening to his music, and it's great. And Kali Uchis featured on a song called "See You Again" on this Flower Boy album. So I looked her up, and she had just put out an album last year. Kind of like R&B jazz, a little bit of rap, but with like a little bit of a
Isolation, right?
Yeah, Isolation, which is also what I put for album, but I'm changing my answer for album. But yeah, I don't know. It's really relaxing. It's kind of hypnotic, and like so one of the comments on the music video for one of her songs says it's good elevator music. But it's really laid back and easy to listen to. It's she's got a great voice, and it's just something like I like to put on while I'm working or whatever. It just kind of, it's a de-stressor album song, and it's my favorite song on the album. So
that's actually a really good pick. I also saw her at Coachella. Well, I should clarify, I didn't go to Coachella. I just watched the YouTube live stream. Yeah. And I actually saw her perform, and I was actually very impressed. I don't think I had heard of her prior to that performance, but I had since looked her up because I was impressed. So yeah, that's actually a really good pick.
Well, good. Yeah. Hey. So some of the other picks that we had let's see. Now we have Life Flight, the theme from Super Smash Bros. Ultimate.
I know the person who sang that theme song.
We have Kamikaze from Walk the Moon. We have After Earth from Ben Bomer, which I'd never heard of. I looked up and listened to. Pretty snazzy. We have the song Shallow from A Star Is Born. And then the pick that I think I want to change mine to is a tie between the Shrek Retold cover of All Star and the Shrek Retold version of Hallelujah with David Lee Part from Tim and Eric fame. So I think I'd actually like to change my answer to Hallelujah by David Lee Part.
What's do we have a clear winner?
We don't, so how are we going to do this?
Are you sure that's Kamikaze from Walk the Moon and not the Eminem song?
No, there was a song called Kamikaze from Walk the Moon this year.
Well...
Yeah, but that was 2017.
Oh, then it's probably Eminem. Yeah, it's Eminem.
Oh, okay.
Okay, well, Kamikaze from Eminem. Anyway, how are we going to do this?
Split up.
Everybody gets a chunky.
I think we should just give it to Hallelujah by David Lee Part.
All right, that's fine. I can accept that.
He'll appreciate it more than anyone else, I guess.
He will, yeah.
So that's
anybody giving that guy a role? Oh, we got to vote for Rock and Roll McDonald's.
Do we have to vote for that? Is that a requirement?
No, somebody voted for that.
No, he's right.
Well,
I wish I had. Dang it!
It just didn't come out in 2018, so I had to disqualify it.
Yeah.
All right,
fair.
let's
That's
move
fair.
on to best
That's
album.
fair.
What do you guys?
Okay.
We'll kind of go through this pretty quickly. Ryan, why don't you go first?
Okay. Well, kind of obvious, but the Be the Cowboy from Mitski is my favorite album, with a close runner-up of Clean by Soccer Mommy. I know those who know me may be surprised to hear me not vote for Honey by Robin this year, but while it was really fun and really cool, good album, I think it just didn't have the emotional gravity that Mitski's album did, and I think that's what really pulled me in. I don't know. I guess for anyone who's interested, I guess I would suggest listening to or even watching the music video for the song Nobody, and to see if they're interested in that style of music. I actually don't like this album as much as her previous album, Puberty 2, which, yeah, it kind of, I don't know. I'm not sure what to even say about this. I think it speaks to maybe like a part of us that's longing to make connections with other people or just other things in the world, and kind of like the dissatisfaction with the inability to do so. So that's, I think, kind of what pulls me in. Mm-hmm. And like kind of like I think originally when I was listening to this album, it was good, it was enjoyable, it was well put together music. But I don't think I truly came to appreciate it when I actually came to kind of, if I were to try to review this album in our podcast, how would I do so? And I kind of started thinking about, well, I don't really talk about music on the podcast, or talked about music with anyone. And so that was like, oh, that's interesting. Why don't I talk about music with anyone? It's like, well, I don't really know anyone to talk about music with. So, and that's, I think, what kind of drew me back into understanding this album, in terms of like lacking the ability to make connections with people. So I don't know, that was kind of like an interesting, like that kind of like, it was almost kind of like a meta experience,
kind of
or like
resonated with you in a different level. That's interesting.
Yeah, so that was cool. So I think that kind of put it on like a level above, like I said, the Soccer Mommy album, which is just a fantastic album all the way through on its own right. I do want to, if I can, just honorable mention, if that's allowed.
Yeah.
There's
no rules.
Yeah, that's true. Negro Swan by Blood Orange, which is one of my favorite bands, is a fantastic listen. Superorganism, which is a debut album from this kind of a hodgepodge band. It's kind of just all these members came together that had never met each other in real life, and they just kind of all collaborated online, which I have a feeling is going to be a more common way of bands joining up, but it's actually a pretty good listen. And then I'll say the album by Low and the album by Janelle Monáe. So
great.
Those were my
I'll go. I initially voted for Isolation by Kali Uchis, because I think probably as far as just like time spent listening this year, I mean, anybody who knows me knows that like the rare times that I find new music, I listen to it to death. So I had spent a lot of time listening to that album this year. But then changing my answer to George Clinton and Parliament Funkadelic released a new album in 2018, and called Medicaid Fraud Dog. And I went to go see George Clinton and P-Funk last year also, and at the Observatory, and it is maybe the most amazing concert I ever went to. Like, and I haven't been to a ton of concerts, but it, like, that show blew me away, and I just amazed by, like, you know, they played all the old favorites like Atomic Dog and Give Up the Funk, and the song everyone knows from Good Burger. They played all that. And they all played all the stuff from the new album, and that they're just like a collective of artists that are all like family members of like 3 different generations performing on stage, and they're all just kind of doing their own thing and like contributing to their collective, and it's great. A lot of the music sounds like it's straight out of the 70s, 80s, and then a lot of the music on that album sounds like modern stuff, and then fusions between the two. So it's Medicaid for Hot Dog is an excellent album. It's super funky, and it's so much fun to listen to. So recommendation if you like funk at all, or if you like, like 70s funk, George Clinton, that kind of stuff. That is my vote for this year. Edges out Cali. All right, anybody else? Vince.
Oh man, albums? Okay, well. I have never been one to select albums of music, but I'll go with, hey, I like Panic at the Disco. I'm not going to lie. I do. So I'll say I do like them, but I'm not going to say
Panic at the Disco.
But I don't think Pray for the Wicked was their best album, so I'm not going to choose that. Even though I'm going to go see them in like a month, but I'm not going to choose that.
Well, we did get a vote for Pray for the Wicked.
No, it wasn't me.
Huh.
That could be the deciding factor. That could be
because
it's
not
their best album. It is not their best album. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm not gonna give them the credit for that one. I like the theme for Avengers: Infinity War. I'm going with that. There you go, Avengers: Infinity War
soundtrack to Avengers: Infinity War.
Look, I've always been a guy who appreciates score. I don't think that score gets the credit it deserves. I mean,
well, that's fair.
That's fair.
That's good.
Yeah.
Then I stand by Avengers: Infinity War. I think it had a fantastic score. I think if you listen to like Thanos' theme, it has all the great like Guardians of the Galaxy themes they have to weave together with like Iron Man's theme, especially in Avengers: Infinity War as opposed to any other Marvel movie. I think like the weaving of the individual characters' themes in the movie was really well done.
I agree with you, and I also think that the Avengers movies are maybe one of the few franchises within the MCU that has memorable music. I think the Avengers theme itself. It's the same guy that did the Back to the Future theme. I'm blanking on his name right now, but is actually like, yeah, that's Marvel. That's what this is all about. So, Solid pick, Vince.
Thank you,
Sean. What do you got?
I'm not a music person, so I'm just gonna go with a popular band that everyone knows, and I know they came out with an album this year, and it's probably the only album I've listened to actually all the way. I get Simulation Theory. Muse Simulation Theory.
Okay.
Oh, and Chewy, the artist was Alan Silvestri.
Alan Silvestri.
He's fantastic. Alan Silvestri is really good. John Williams and like James Newton Howard get a lot of credit as the two big guns of like composers, but Alan Silvestri's right there.
Yeah. He also did the theme to Honey, I Blew Up the Kid, I think. Well, wait, no, I made that up.
He's best known for.
Oh. Anyway, who got left? Chris?
So when I first was doing this, I was thinking I did really like Kamikaze. Maybe I put Kamikaze down. I think the Black Panther soundtrack was pretty good.
That's a good one. Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I decided to go with actually Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, because there's just something different about the album. Mm-hmm. It's very chill, and it's something that I could put on in the background with Post Malone and all that stuff. It's very just relaxing, and you don't have to be completely invested in it. It's not like lyric heavy or anything like that, so you can really just enjoy the music itself.
Sunflower is a close second for
and
me,
like I said,
favorite song.
It's up there. There's also a Jaden Smith song on it, and I think I said this before, but I never thought I would like a Jaden Smith song. And
you learn something about ourselves every day.
So, yeah. So I vote Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Movie soundtracks. So we had Beat a Cowboy Mitski, we had Isolation. Well, no, I changed that one. We have Love Is Dead by Churches. We had Eminem Kamikaze, Pray for the Wicked. Somebody did write in Black Panther soundtrack, Kendrick.
Nice.
You Won't Get What You Want by Daughters. We had Trench by 21 Pilots. And I would like to propose the winner for this year. We had Now 68.
I mean, you can't.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm saying. Is that if you want to look at 2018,
see, but that's unfair. That's a highlight reel. It's taking all the best songs. You can't do that. It's got to be from one artist.
Well,
we didn't have rules here. No. First of all, there are multiple artists even on the Infinity War soundtrack
and Spider-Man OST.
and Black
It is
Panther.
decreed. The winner of the 2018 Best Album is now 68.
Fantastic.
We're just upping our credibility in our first discussion about music.
I mean, honestly, it probably is the Black Panther soundtrack. But...
At least it was in Kids Bop.
Right. Yeah, I forgot about that when I was voting.
Chewie, you'll have to make another ride for that.
Oh yes, indeed. That of everything that I've made and put on YouTube, that's been my biggest success is Kids Bop the Ride. That's the thing that's the
your
thing
legacy.
Of everything I've made, that's the thing that's going to hit 1 million views first. So
that's great.
There you go. All right, let's transition into film, which is the thing that we pretty much always talk about on this podcast, so we can actually know what we're talking about. Great. Let's see. Where should we start? How about best Oscar-y movie? This is a category. We talk a lot about popular films on this podcast, but this is a category that is the stuff that is probably going to be award shows type of thing. Yeah. So, what do you guys think?
I chose Roma.
Okay.
Actually, no, it's not true because when I voted, I had not seen Roma, but now I have seen Roma, so I now will choose Roma. Before that, it was Black Klansman because of all the nominees. That was the one I liked the most.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think Roma. I think Roma is like a filmmaker's film.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably the most crafted, the most artfully crafted film. It's the most finely crafted. It's the most, I don't know, all that stuff you could add. I don't think it's a film that everyone will like. I'm guarantee actually a lot of people won't like.
Yeah.
But I do think it's just purely on just film as an art form. I don't think anything's on that list. It kind of touches it. And so so that's what I go with. It's not even necessarily my favorite, but I think it's the most best Oscar-y film.
Okay. Vince?
I went with Black Klansman, and I have not seen Roma, so my vote is not changing. For me, it was a toss-up. I think that I think it's got the best chance of winning. I just think that direction, acting, script, I think it's all super tight as opposed to maybe like A Star is Born. I think Star is Born kind of slips up in the last act maybe for me. I just think Black Klansman is just like a super solid, engaging movie all the way through. I had a really good time with it.
All right. Chris?
I went with Roma.
Dang
Are
it.
you sorry?
Do I have to see Roma now? I haven't seen Roma.
It's on Netflix.
I haven't seen it either.
It's on Netflix, so it's easy to get
No,
to.
I'm not sorry. Roma from Alfonso Cuarón. Just another friggin' amazing film. He also did the cinematography for it. And
it's an Alfonso Cuarón film?
Every single shot is very specific and intentional, and it's like it shows. I teared up at a part in the movie. It's a little bit of a slow burn. Yeah, it's not like event driven at all. It's completely character driven.
Just to be clear, I wasn't implying that you should be sorry.
No.
You just sounded
I took it
sorry.
that way.
Okay, well, I don't take it that way. Ryan.
Yeah, well, I guess Roma. That is what I put because I had seen it at that time. This movie's worth discussion of its own.
Yeah.
There was. I will just add to kind of what these guys have said, and I think there was parts of the movie that well, you know how I am with movies, just being squeamish about certain things, but I came very close to having to stop the movie and walk away and take a moment because it was. There's some parts.
Now let me ask you this: knowing you, is it squeamish as in a visceral, physical, blood, gore, something like that, or is it squeamish as in the awkward interactions between humans that are consistently had on a daily basis? Because
any episode
I think
of
you
The
know
Office.
which one is the right answer.
Okay, I know, but I needed to make sure
The
that they
Office.
knew.
So for the audience listening, it's the latter of the two Matt mentioned.
Watch any movie with Ryan that involves two people who have romantic interest in each other talking to each other. I didn't know it was possible to sink that low into a chair.
My favorite.
But to be clear, it's not just romantic interest because I had the same reaction to I Love You Man.
Right. Just kind of the awkward, just like people being people. Yeah.
Yep, correct.
It is more fun to watch a movie like that with you than it is a horror movie, and it's hilarious watching a horror movie. So,
well,
to all the audience members, all the listeners out there, my recommendation is to watch a movie with Ryan.
Any movie,
good choice,
is the winner if you watch it with Ryan.
Sean, did we get to you?
Yeah, I said Roma.
That's right. Okay, so
I'm guessing that wins.
When I put this one together, I went to a website that I often use to cheat on the Oscar pools every year. It's awardcircuit.com. They have a track record of being pretty accurate and being able to predict the Oscars. So I went and I picked what they're projecting to be the nominees for Best Picture. And so the nominees I had down were Roma, A Star Is Born, Green Book, BlacKkKlansman, Bohemian Rhapsody, and First Man. So those were
Matt, have you chosen yours yet? What's yours?
Oh.
I thought that was all part of your build-up.
That's why I was like, wait, he's just going to tell us what
Oh, no,
that
wasn't my build-up.
Tell us what yours is first.
I voted for Bohemian Rhapsody because it's the only one of these movies I've seen.
Okay.
So those are the ones that's how I derived the answers, the nominees for. We had a couple write-ins. We had The Mule. Has anybody seen The Mule?
No, but I know it. The Clint Eastwood one.
I know what it is. Yeah.
Clint Eastwood, and it's in theaters right now.
Mm-hmm.
We also had a vote for Avengers: Infinity War. So good luck, buddy. And then we had a vote for Annihilation, because Oscar Isaac is in it. They wrote in parentheses Oscar Isaac, and the category is Best Oscar-y Movie.
Oh, that's fantastic. Can we just give it to
all right, that person wins.
Okay, they win. All right.
Well, a couple that are missing that I was kind of surprised were The Favorite and the Mary Queen of Scots. Those have been getting a lot of buzz recently. I have not seen either, so I wouldn't have voted for him anyway. But
there was a lot of early buzz for The Favorite, and then those websites that track this kind of thing kind of stopped talking about it.
Oh, really?
So I don't know if that means that it's kind of out of the running or what have you, but yeah, I haven't heard as much of that. Anyway, so
it's actually really interesting because the Golden Globes does things a little differently, right? They split comedy and then like drama and stuff. But the one that won for drama was Black Panther, wasn't it?
Black Panther?
Yeah.
I think it won the Golden Globe for drama.
Interesting.
And it's interesting that this site wouldn't even track it as an actual nomination for Best Picture.
I wouldn't be surprised to see it in a category for
Oscar. It was.
Yeah.
It's just that they kind of take a ton of movies and rank them in likelihood for nomination and then for likelihood in winning. And the list had like 30 movies on it. Yeah. So I just picked the top, I don't know, 5 or 10 or whatever it was.
Plus we got a comic book category. So
yeah, and Black Panther was pretty far down the list, so I didn't include it. But and we didn't get any write-ins for it. Okay, so for this poll, overwhelming majority, a lot of these got like 1 or 2 votes, but the one that got the most votes was 37.9% of the vote was Bohemian Rhapsody.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Bohemian Rhapsody is the chunky award-winning movie for Best Oscar-y Movie.
Wow, upset for I guess. Is there upsets in this?
Well, I think probably because I think of these movies, it's the most accessible.
Yeah, I agree.
I think it's the movie that you're more likely to go watch to have a good time, and not because you heard it's like a good movie that's you know like an award season movie. So, and like I talked about it a little bit a couple episodes ago. I enjoyed it. I didn't think it was particularly remarkable standout, but I did have a really good time watching it, and I did leave the theater like, yeah, all right, yeah, Queen, cool. So you know, it is of the movie, and it is one of the ones that's being talked about for award season. So I don't know if it is now still, but they had it projected pretty high for at Award Circuit. So there you go. That's our winner.
Best Oscar.
Moving right along.
Let's see if our awards are ours we'll have our own site, and we'll start taking what won the Chunky this year. That's always a good indicator what's going to win the Oscar.
All right. So the award for best movie that features a scene where a crazed Tom Hardy jumps into a lobster tank in a nice restaurant with an overwhelming 100% was Venom.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. I see it.
Controversial a little bit, but you know,
I couldn't really decide, so I didn't vote.
I wanted to write in John Mulaney SNL, but I wasn't able to.
Well, the numbers don't lie, Vince. The numbers don't lie. Okay, so let's move on to worst movie.
Ooh, all right.
What do we think, Vince? What do you think?
Oh yeah.
Oh God, the worst movie. I mean, I don't want to, because if you want to go for like Netflix movies, it'd be easy to pick one of those. There was one that I saw. There's a Netflix movie. Who is the guy who's like the comedic relief of Pitch Perfect? He's like a bro kind of guy. And
I know who you're talking about, but I can't remember his name.
But he's in a movie about like a hotel heist thing that happens.
Ryan saw that and liked that movie.
Oh God, I hated
Game
that
Over?
movie.
Wait, what?
Is that the movie? It's probably
Game Over. Yeah, that's a great movie. What do you mean?
What?
The guys from Workaholics?
You liked that movie?
Well, yeah.
haven't seen
If
it,
you're
so
drunk
I don't
with your roommates, it's a fantastic film.
Oh, well, I was sober and hoping
Oh, well,
laugh.
then you don't.
Then you
don't
weren't
know
the
how to
target
watch a
audience.
movie. Yeah, you're not good at watching movies, Vince.
Oh, dang it.
It's okay, Vince. I'm not going to say you're not good at watching movies, but you definitely weren't the target audience there. All right, Ryan, what'd you
There
put?
you go.
I actually wrote in Pearl Harbor because it's such a bad movie. It deserves to lose for 2019 as well.
It transcends space and time.
Correct. It is, well, I recently watched it on Netflix, and man, that is just it.
Wait, why did you make that
You
choice?
forget
Do you know how
how
much stuff
bad
is
that
on
movie
Netflix?
is.
You made the choice
no,
to go back
it's
and watch
honestly-
Pearl Harbor?
I did. I made the conscious effort.
I don't understand you.
It's it's just that bad.
But those action scenes, bro.
Yeah, I think more than anything, it's just like a clear, shameless, like, hey, Titanic was a thing, so let's get another historical event where people died and it was tragic and there were boats involved, and then put a love triangle in there.
But let me remind.
I think
and
Michael
then-
Bay made the right choice going with Bad Boys and
Look,
Transformers.
But let me remind you, there's a character in the film that his main form of communication is farting. And I'm not joking. I don't know if you blotted that out from your memory, but that is a real thing in the movie.
See, that movie also... Hey, remember Titanic, where they pretend to fly and then go have sex in a weird location? What if we actually make them fly and then go have sex in a weird location? That's better, right?
One-upping it, right? We're
Right?
Yeah,
We can't...
yeah.
There's no way we can lose. We already... There you go. All right. Sean, what'd you put down?
So this was a tough choice for me, and on retrospect, I would have wrote something in. I voted for Slender Man. I think I'm the only one here who saw it, but that by far was just in terms of a thing that exists. It was the thing on this list that least resembled a film. So therefore, I think just by definition was the worst film.
What does that mean? What was
Well,
it like
here's the
watching
thing. It can't be the worst movie if it isn't a movie, though.
Well, yeah,
That's
but
a
can
good
it like
point.
I have a pencil in my hand. This is a pretty bad movie. It's a pencil, right? Like I don't know. What are the qualifications?
Good argument.
What counts as
Oddly enough, that is a good argument.
Wait, Sean, can you explain? What was it? Why was it so bad?
Because I mean, I touched on I don't know, it was when I saw it early in the year, but
Yeah.
it's like it's a not even a slasher film, but like kind of teen horror film about a whole bunch of teenage girls that was clearly written by a 58-year-old man who has no idea he's already a bad writer, but then add trying to imitate teenage girls in 2018 on top of being a bad writer, and you just get a spectacular combustion fire.
Somehow it's the best.
But did he get the character of Slender Man right? Because that's really the most important
and that was the biggest travesty, is that even Slender Man was not right. There's no structure,
that's
there's
too
no
bad.
plot, the characters were like, it was just like everything about it was so bad that it wasn't a fun bad. Just like I mentioned Replicas, like I recommend Replicas. That was a bad film, but you go watch it. It's entertaining. It's a good time. Slender Man was not in the least in any level entertaining. I don't recommend that, even as a good film. So that is, I think, the clear like actual bad movie. But Jurassic World, I think, is the stupidest film. I just want to point that out. It was the stupidest film.
There you go.
But if I had thought of it as I was voting, I probably would have wrote in A Wrinkle in Time. I kind of forgot it came out this year.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that movie was...
Shoot.
Oh, my hatred for that movie. I don't know why I hate it so much, but it's so bad. Oh, that movie is so bad. So, anyways, that's my vote. I still go Slender Man, but there's some other top contenders.
Chris,
Is it weird that it makes me happy that you hate A Wrinkle in Time? It makes me happy.
It's like, yeah, Schadenfreude, kind of, but for someone else, I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah.
I hate voted for Fantastic Beasts.
You haven't even seen it.
That's why I said I hate voted.
Have you seen any of the ones on other than Aquaman and Venom?
Obviously, I've seen Jurassic World.
Okay.
That was terrible. Yeah, I don't know.
Right.
There are a lot of terrible things, but I wanted to hate vote.
Well, I legitimately voted for Fantastic Beasts. And that'll lead me into the reveal here. So I tracked the results like the entire time this poll was up. And for worst movie, it was going back and forth between Fantastic Beasts and Jurassic World. Like, pretty evenly, it kept one would pull ahead and then the other one would pull ahead. Until something weird happened towards the end of the poll. Another movie pulled ahead. Those movies ended up tied, both at 20.7% of the vote. The one that pulled ahead and got the majority with 34.5% was Slender Man. So
really?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Enough people actually saw that to vote. Like,
yeah, 35% of the vote was for Slender Man. And just to say, the nominees were Fantastic Beasts. I put Venom up there for funsies. I put Aquaman up there to make Chris mad, though it did get a good amount of votes. Slender Man, Jurassic World, Smallfoot. We had the Pearl Harbor write-in. We had the 1517 to Paris. I'd never heard of that.
That was the Clint Eastwood one. It's supposed to be pretty bad.
Okay, and then
that's the one where he got the actual people that were in that event to be the actors.
Yeah. And then we also had a write-in for. They wrote, "A star is farted. ... Sorry, born." Here's the thing, though. I haven't seen A Star Is Born, but this makes me mad, just out of principle, because the clear joke here is a fart is born.
No. How did they goof that
How
up?
did they mess that up so badly? So whoever voted for that is listening.
Well, good thing they only got one vote for it.
Oh yeah, it's a good thing we only got one vote for A Star Is Farted. Sorry, born. Anyway,
Wait, we didn't hear what Chris's what was Ryan's least favorite?
Pearl Harbor.
Oh, that's
Pearl
right.
Harbor.
Sorry, never
That
mind.
was me.
I forgot.
That was my Reddit.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah.
Well, I'm
Slenderman.
proud that Slenderman won first film. Then.
All right, I want to go through this one real quickly.
Also, real quick, I'm also proud that we had enough people voting in our poll that there was actually some sort of a race between two separate.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
what?
there were actually a couple
Who's
of
voting
categories. There were actually a couple categories where like it would be one thing and then it would shift and then shift back. Yeah, we actually had a few of those, so that's cool. Thank you for everyone who voted.
Yeah.
I meant to actually do this at the beginning, but I'll do this right now for everybody who filled out your name. Thank you to Ryan Davis, Batman, Charlotte, Slam Bam, thank you, ma'am, You Know Pooh, Ya Boy, Marlene, Big Chunk, Hank Scorpio, Content Free Time, James Hosford, Katie, Andrew, Patches O'Houlihan, and Jesus Castro.
Thank you to all of our friends.
that is just a sample of all the people who participated in this poll. So let's pause for a moment and thank you guys.
They're the real winners.
I
guess.
Anyway.
How?
All right. So let's do. I want to do this one relatively quickly. We're kind of going over time.
Yeah, it's long, but
this is a long one. I had a category for People's Choice. This was just movies that people wanted to mention that didn't get anywhere. Let's just go around real quick and see if you guys wrote anything in. Vince?
Let's see. People's Choice. I wrote... Oh, man. Okay. I don't actually have the thing up, so I'm trying to remember what I wrote.
Go into Ryan.
Go to Ryan.
Right.
All
We'll
right.
come back to Vince.
Number one is Blind Spotting. I'm surprised this movie did not get more attention. It's probably my favorite movie of the year. Followed shortly, if I can mention, 8th Grade. I think people forgot about 8th Grade. I think it's a fantastic movie. Also, Sorry to Bother You, and that's it. Yep. Okay. Oh, also Ibiza, which is the best movie of all time. But that, I mean, yeah.
Okay. Chris.
I'll just go off of... Oh, sorry.
Sure, go ahead, Sean.
I was going to go off of Ryan's... I put 8th Grade, or I don't remember what I put. I think I did. hope I did. But 8th grade, that's where I agree. I think it, unfortunately, probably is going to get ignored in their awards season, but I definitely think it is worthy of people's attention. It's amazing, awesome, great, all that. So 8th grade.
Okay. Chris?
I put Mirai, the newest film from the director of Girl Who Leapt Through Time, which is one of Ryan's
I'm
favorite
going to have to check that out because I love all of these movies that I've seen.
Yeah, that was good times.
And Summer Wars. And the furries.
Oh, yeah.
The furry movie.
Yep.
And
War Horse?
Summer Wars. Where's my war horse?
Where's my war horse?
USA.
War
Vince, what did you
horse.
vote for? Did you figure it out?
I haven't yet.
Okay. I don't think I participated in this one, but I'll just go off mention some of the ones that people wrote. We had 8th grade. We had a couple votes for A Quiet Place. Annihilation. We had someone for Christopher Robin. We had someone vote for Crimes of Grindelwald with exclamation points, so probably took offense to having it in worst movie, but I stand by it. We had Game Night, and they wrote funniest movie of last year, which
wait,
a chance to check it out.
Actually, I think that was my vote.
Oh.
Game Night? I mean, comedies, I think it was probably the best comedy I saw last year.
It's been a while since I've seen a good comedy, so maybe I'll check it out. We had Mary Poppins. Somebody wrote Mowgli, Legend of the Jungle, which got a lot of flack online for just people just saying it's a ripoff of the other one, but I mean, they were in production at the same time, and Jon Favreau just kind of beat them to it, so I've heard this one's actually pretty solid. We had a vote for Robin Hood.
No, we did not.
We had a vote for Shrek and for Shrek Retold.
Both.
Yeah. But the clear winner for this we had several votes for was Sorry to Bother You.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
that's good. I'm glad that one. I'm very happy with that.
But I'm just glad that it. Yeah.
I love that movie.
Okay. There you go.
Nice. Next category.
Next category. Let's fire through them. Moving right along. Best animated movie. Vince, what you got?
Oh, it's clearly Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. No, it's my favorite movie of the year, but it's definitely going to win. It should win Best Animated Movie. I think it's one of the best. It's the best superhero movie I have seen to date, I will say.
Chris.
Spider-Man.
Ryan.
Spider-Man.
Sean.
Spider-Man. Isle of Dogs I like, but Spider-Man.
I also voted for Spider-Man. The nominees for this category were Incredibles 2, Ralph Breaks the Internet, Spider-Man, Teen Titans Go to the Movies, Isle of Dogs, and then we did have a write-in vote for Mirai. But the overwhelming winner with 66% of the vote was Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. I don't know that it merits a whole lot of conversation. We did a whole podcast about it, but boy, excellent movie. Okay, here we go. Let's see. We want to move on to best
we only have
comic.
2 left, don't we?
We have a few. We also have some miscellaneous ones still to reveal.
We have some miscellaneous. 2 real ones and a couple miscellaneous.
All right. Best comic-based movie. What we got? Vince, what you got?
All right. Well, I will say that I think that Infinity War was a harder story to tell that they managed to do. So I'm going to go with Infinity War, but Into the Spider-Verse is a close second.
Okay. Sean.
I am going to go with Infinity War as well.
Okay. Right.
Infinity War.
Chris.
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man. All right.
Is that your vote, Matt?
I voted Infinity War. The nominees that I wrote were Black Panther, Deadpool 2, Infinity War, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Venom, Spider-Man, Aquaman, and Teen Titans Go to the Movies. Now, this was one that was close. This was one of the ones where it went back and forth between Spider-Verse and Infinity War. And they landed pretty close to each other, but ultimately the winner of this category was Infinity War.
I think it's worthy. Yeah.
With 34.5% of the vote as opposed to Spider-Man's 31%, so they came very close to each other.
Super close, though.
Yeah, they did.
Well, I'm glad that Spider-Man was the one, right? I do,
Yeah. And it's nice that movie got enough attention to the point where enough people deserve to vote for it, because that could have easily been turned into something that was really good but really underrated and not a lot of people took a chance on. But that movie got a lot of good word of mouth and a lot of people checked it out, so that's...
Also, I do want to point out that this category, we have an episode of every single thing in this category except for Black Panther.
Yep,
It's almost like we have a style or something.
There you go.
It's stylistically designed to be that way. We cannot do that, but we can diminish the effects of it.
Okay.
Good. I'm glad I can say that and we can move on.
All right. So for this next category is Best Vince in a Yum Chunks production. The nominees were Sean, Ryan, Chris, Chewy, and other.
All right, what do we got?
We also had a write-in for Old Chuck. I wonder who voted for that one. And we had a write-in for the audience. So there you go. So I'm proud to say, or not proud to say, that the overwhelming majority was for me.
Interesting. I don't know what that means, but it's correct.
I'll tell you what it means.
Do you take that as a compliment?
No, yeah.
I consider this award.
You don't have to answer that. You don't have to answer that, Matt.
This award is kind of like our lifetime achievement award. It's like that special side award that we give out. So yeah,
I will say that
Julie gets to wear this with pride for the full year that he is the best Vince.
Well, I know that a lot of our listener base are just like my students, so.
So you're cheating, is what you're saying.
Yeah, read the vote. Second place was Ryan, with 24% of the vote.
Yeah, maybe next year.
Third was Sean, 13% of the vote. Fourth was Chris, and then of all of us, Vince came in last with 2 votes. 2 write-in votes.
Look, I'm just happy to be recognized. Okay.
Look, ultimately, what this comes down to is I have to decide what it means to be Vince.
Yeah.
And then if I'm okay with that.
I'm just glad that I was the least Vince out of everybody except for Vince.
Actually, that's not true. Old Chuck was the least Vince.
Considering I was the one that had the whole audio mishap this year, I'm surprised.
Yeah, you did.
We lost our entire Venom episode because of you.
Are you kidding? I found that episode and it was wonderful.
Two-thirds of it that were listened to-able.
Okay. And for best podcast, that the winner of best podcast with 100% of the vote was After the Credits, a Yum Chunks podcast.
Whoa!
Everybody that's so kind to us.
They like us. They really like us.
We should all be very proud of ourselves.
I think so.
So we win the iHeartRadio podcast award or something.
Probably. I think that might be what that means. Boy. Okay. So our last category we have left. We're almost done with these. There are too many categories.
Yeah.
We're down to the last 2.
Last category. The last 2? What did I miss?
Oh, sorry. There's one more fake
best episode of After the Credits. Did you guys have any personal favorites since we're talking about last year?
I like First Man.
I thought the Jurassic World one was pretty funny.
Yeah, I think I voted Jurassic World. That was probably just my favorite to listen to, but First Man was also really good. And I also really liked our Avengers one. I think all of our episodes are so good. It's so hard to pick one. Our solo one was good, though.
What about the Venom one? Did anybody like the Venom one?
Nope. Nobody enjoyed that. Nobody else? Oh, so you guys have your favorites.
What did you? Yeah, what was your favorite?
We had my personal favorite. I think was Jurassic World, and I wasn't on that one, but I just had a lot of fun listening to it.
Yeah.
I wish I could have been on that one because I had things to say about that movie. But
I think it was the same thing with me. I wasn't a part of that, but it was
just Vince Ryan.
It was good listen.
I'll just say that Jurassic World was the winner with 40% of the vote, and I'm wondering if it's just because it was the first one in the list. And like nobody actually listens to this podcast,
but the other ones did get votes.
They did, yeah. The ones that I put up there were Jurassic World, Solo, and the Avatar live action announcement episode. And Solo got 22.2% of the vote, and Avatar got 18.5%. So There were people who actually were fans of that, and then we got some write-ins. We got a write-in for First Man, we got a write-in for Haunting of Hill House, and we got a write-in for the Fantastic Beasts episode, which I'm proud of because I had a really I had a really
actually
fun
the Fantastic Beast was a good episode too.
I think of the ones that I've been on, I think that's my favorite. But just as a listener, I really enjoyed. I could say because I wasn't on it, Jurassic World. Was probably. I think.
I gotta say, I'm kind of bummed that the 2 top ones were ones I were like the only 2 I was not involved with.
Yeah, I wonder what that means.
Oh no!
Shut up, Vince.
Oh no!
Finally, another Vince.
All right. You wait. I'm not going to win Best Vince next year. Somebody else.
I mean, are you qualified? Can you be nominated 2 years in a row?
Oh yeah,
can
figure that out.
All right.
Well, I'm in the running for this year, so maybe it'll be me.
All right. Our final category: most important movie. Let's go through. What do you guys say? What do you mean by important?
That's important to you.
I mean, I think this could mean different things to different people. To me, important is sometimes a better or is more important than best film of the year. I think an important film is, to me, a film that will have a lasting impact, is somehow changes film or the industry or how we perceive or consume movies. In any case, I put Black Panther. I think to me it was just obviously into money wise, how much money it made, it was clear. But I think just for what that film was, how important it was, I don't think could be understated or can be overstated. So
I think one of the things that makes it important for me is it says something about like the time that it came out as well.
Yes.
Like kind of the cultural, like how are people feeling about movies and what are people watching and what's, being, I think that's an element to it. What else do you say?
It's of its time and place. It's something that probably couldn't have been made any other year other than that time when it was made.
And maybe if it were, it might not have been successful at a different time.
Yes. Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. I said Into the Spider-Verse. And for me, it did a couple things. For one thing, it made me care about Spider-Man again, and it told the story in a way that, because, I mean, I've seen Spider-Man so many times in film, I thought there's no way I'm going to go into a Spider-Man movie and feel like this is something new, and I don't know where this story's going, and I'm really enjoying it, and it managed to do that. And 2, it showed me that Spider-Man and superheroes in general can be presented in the animated medium, and been shown to, an audience in theaters and be super successful, which is something I'm really excited about because I've always wanted to see big blockbusters and other universes just be transported from live action to animation. If Harry Potter was ever to get a reboot, I'd like to see that in animation.
Yeah.
And so if this is kind of the stepping stones for it, for something like that to have more franchises take a chance on rebooting things into animated format. I mean, it was just so cool. It was literally like watching a comic book, just in the way that it was done, and it was just so funny and just so well balanced that it had all the right heart, it had all the right humor. It was everything that I wanted from a movie, just in general.
I think you hit upon a great point, and this is why this is my vote. Also, I think what you're saying about it being accessible to a wider audience, and that. And they kind of took a chance on this a little bit. And also, not to put you on blast, but Sean, you were saying how you didn't immediately feel like it was legitimate.
Yes.
And I kind of felt the same way.
No, yeah, exactly.
And this is one of the things that when Disney bought Marvel, oh man, what if they did animated stuff? And aside from Big Hero 6, which I don't really count because of its weird history, I'm wondering why they haven't taken advantage of that, and it's crazy to me that Sony, which has had in recent history kind of weird stuff about its studio, are the ones that pulled it off and deliver that to a mass audience. So I think that for me, I almost voted for Black Panther, but it's real close for me. But I think Spider-Man I think is what I'm going to give it to. You guys, what else did say?
Chris and Ryan.
I guess I'll go. So it's interesting. So the word important, it's a little more loaded than just best, right? Best you can view, best anything in a vacuum, right? Almost just within its own context. Is this a good piece of art on its own? Whereas important, it holds a lot of weight, right? It has sort of there's a historical or a time element to it that we can't really view the full importance of a film until time's passed, maybe, right? And I think that's why Spider-Man, it might actually become a more important film than it is now, right? Because if it sets a precedent for showing that live media can be translated into animated media in an effective format, we might see the reverse from what we're seeing for like Avatar, right? Where Avatar is like, oh, let's take this animated show and translate it into live action because that's the greater art form, or some weird notion like that, right? I'm not saying that's true necessarily. I'm just saying that's maybe the perception. And so if this Spider-Man film can kind of reverse that paradigm and show that animated formats can be the ultimate destination or just a equally valid destination, I think that has a lot of importance for the medium in itself. But with us only being in the early stages of 2019, I would have to give it to Black Panther because it's already shown its importance, I think, and it's easy to see the importance it's going to have moving forward. So the word importance kind of has a lot of weight behind it, but I think considering that weight, I would give it to Black Panther.
Okay.
Yeah, no, that's really well put.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Great points. Chris, did you say?
My vote's for Spider-Man.
Okay.
I think kind of what you guys touched on. And to me, it's hard for me to say, considering the other choice that I would juggle it compared to would be Black Panther because of what they represent for that specific culture. Me as a white male, I don't know if how much I can say one's more important than the other. The only difference I drew was one seemed more relevant to kind of the past and one was more relevant to the present. And so I put my vote on the present with Spider-Man.
Okay, great. Well, I'll name off some of the other write-ins. We had Infinity War. We had Beale Street, Black Klansman, Blind Spotting. We had First Man. I'm going to assume that one of you voted for Ibiza. We had a vote for Roma. We had a vote for Venom, which I kind of want to change my answer to. But the two movies that had multiple votes, and a good amount of them, were Spider-Man and Black Panther. But winning by one vote was Black Panther.
Yeah.
All right.
No, I'm just kidding. That's a fine movie.
Yeah, actually, it's kind of cool that actually Spider-Man is in both. I mean, Black Panther 2 is best comic book. Both so successful and both.
Yeah.
They're both
so arguably important, right? Like
they're both on top of it with representation. They're both on top of it with new things for the medium. They're popular, but they're also. There's weight behind them. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's just easy to diminish blockbuster films or big, action films and stuff. And rightfully so, based on, decades of what those types of films have been. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. I just think it says a lot. And it's just really awesome that two of the arguably most important films of the year were big budget action films that got a lot of big audience, and in some ways that makes them more important, right? Because they're exposed to more people. They are presenting these ideas and themes and stuff to people who just go see movies for fun, and that's going to have an impact more than Roma, which is brilliant, but you're going to get a tiny sliver of the fraction who sees that, and you're not going to impart that same ideas and themes and message just because people aren't going to see it, right?
Right, exactly. Right. I think, 5 years ago, I remember reading a lot of think pieces about how, the comic book movie bubble is going to burst any day now. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of, as comic book movie fans, all of us are, it's nice that hasn't happened. But it's also nice that, again, we're looking at two movies that are culturally significant, of high quality, both comic book movies. So,
well, I just think if they're smart too, and hopefully, studios are, that they have to evolve. And I think both of those films are good indicators that they're not just going back to the same old thing that was successful in the past, that these films, Spider-Man and Black Panther especially, are trying to do things differently. and that they'll be successful if they're good. So
great, awesome. Yeah. Well, that wraps up the first annual, the 2018 Chunky Awards. That was good. Your song, not the awards.
Soundbite in.
Your song in there.
Good job, guys. It was only 2 hours.
It was on. Yeah, we're 5 minutes away from the 2 hour mark. Did you guys want to do our?
I think it's worth just mentioning a couple of things. We don't have to discuss, but just list off.
Let's go around the circle and talk about some things that we're looking forward to in 2019. Who wants to kick it off? Someone kick it off.
Okay, I'll kick it off. I think that April is going to be the best month for me personally. I get the end of 2 of my most favoritist franchises of all time, being Game of Thrones and the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I know it's not the end, but it's like the end of an era with Avengers Endgame.
It's got the word "end" in it, so you know.
Exactly.
That's true.
And so,
both of those are huge.
We get the premiere of the final season of Game of Thrones. Super excited about, and Avengers Endgame, both in April. It's going to be a crazy month.
Yep.
All right. I am. Well, this is of recent news, so we probably should save deeper discussion for the next episode. I'm looking forward to Spider-Man: Far From Home. Yeah. I'm probably the only one on this podcast, but I'm very much looking forward to Frozen 2. And I am, of all the popular culture things that are happening this year, the thing I'm most looking forward to is the opening of Star Wars Galaxy's Edge at Disneyland. I don't know if I'll get a chance to go visit because of crowds and because of funds, but even just as a theme park fan, I'm excited to see the coverage and to see how people react to it and all that kind of stuff. So I'm super excited for that. That's what I'm looking forward to the most this year. Oh, and D23 Expo is happening this summer, and we'll probably find out more about Marvel Land, which is the next big project after that. So there you go. That's for me.
Sweet.
Nice. Good choices.
Matt, you didn't mention the Sonic movie.
Oh, yeah. Cancel everything I just said. Sonic movie.
Okay, good.
Right, I erased my brain.
Well, in addition to that and the other movies, I'm actually looking forward to the Captain Marvel film. I think Star Wars is... Yeah, we're getting the new Star Wars, right?
We are.
Yeah, I was going to mention if no one else did.
Yeah, Star Wars for sure.
I mean, talk about end of a...
Era.
Something.
Saga. Something. End of a something.
I
think the John Wick 3 movie is coming out, so I'm looking forward to that. I love that series. I also think we're getting the new Men in Black. Is that...
Oh, correct? Yeah.
Okay, cool. Stranger Things. I'm a huge Stranger Things fan.
Mm-hmm. So, yes. Mm-hmm.
So that'd be good. Game of Thrones, of course. And also, I guess they're making the Neil Gaiman Good Omens into a series, movie, something. So kind of looking forward to that. I kind of had mixed feelings about American Gods, but yeah, we'll see.
Okay. Chris?
I mean, John Wick 3 looks pretty freaking cool and unique, like John Wick films usually are. There's that. Probably the only one here that's actually interested in watching Shazam. I'm really excited for that.
I forgot about that, but I'm looking forward to that.
I forgot, but yeah.
There's another DC movie coming out this year, I think. Is it Wonder Woman 2? No, that got pushed back.
That got pushed to 2020.
But
it's probably
also
one of the Jokers.
Oh yeah, it is one.
Statistically, chances are it's one of the Jokers.
I'm actually currently watching the new season of Young Justice, and it is as amazing as all of the Young Justice. So I cannot wait for it to continue and end. Hopefully they'll make another season because I cannot recommend the show enough. Very much like I couldn't recommend that Clone Wars show enough, the second Clone Wars, the cel-shaded one. This Young Justice is amazing. Also, I'm kind of just watching these DC original shows as they come out, and there's a couple that I'm excited for. I'm excited for like a Swamp Thing, see what they do with that. It's supposed to be like a horror show, so and then they're doing a couple other quirky things there. So
okay.
Star Wars, lots of video games, lots and lots of video games.
Yeah.
Kingdom Hearts.
No. And I can't tell you how much I'm looking forward to not playing Kingdom Hearts 3. All right, Sean.
I'll tell you what. I'll stream it. You just watch me play it.
That's even worse. Then I don't even get to play a video game. I just have to watch the story unfold. All right, Sean, what do you got?
Yeah, a lot of what everyone kind of pretty much already said. Couple things haven't been mentioned. The actual live action Pokemon film looks to me super crazy and awesome. So I'm actually looking forward to that. And another video game. There's this little indie studio making this sequel to the sleeper hit called The Last of Us 2 sometime this year.
Shut up. Hey.
What?
Shut up. Sean.
Wait, is that a confirmation?
Oh, I guess no. I'm just saying it might be worked on. It might come out this year.
I guess I should get around to finishing the first game then.
I'm pretty sure you said it was coming out this year. I'm pretty sure that's what you said.
Say anything.
I guess I'm getting rid of it to be real sad then.
There was a couple of things. I'm blanking now. Dang, and I can't remember. Well, Star Wars, Game of Thrones. Oh, that's right. The book series, the second in the Iron Gold, comes out this year. The Pierce Brown Red Rising series, sequel to the Red Rising trilogy. Iron Gold 2, I forgot what it's called. What's it called?
Dark Age.
Dark Age. So that's a book I'm actually looking forward to.
Hey, what do you think the chances are we'll get Wins a Winner?
Yeah, if that happens. And then just my normal faves: BoJack Horseman next season, Rick and Morty another season, all of that stuff. I'm looking forward to. But I do think it is worth pointing out 3 major, like Star Wars, Avengers, and Game of Thrones, all ending this season. It's just going to be kind of hopefully a big, boisterous, explosive end to lots of things.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah,
anyways,
that's good.
But yeah, that's what I got.
All right. Cool. Well, lots of stuff to look forward to in this coming year, which means lots of stuff to talk about on the podcast. So I'm sure we'll cover most of that stuff, hopefully. That's a good goal. We're at episode 25. We're a quarter of the way to 100 right now. So we haven't done it a year yet. So we'll see
3 more years.
See how many we can get through. Okay, cool.
We're trying to get to 100 by the end of this year.
Yes.
Go for it. You could do a lot of it.
Well, we're past the 2-hour mark, so this is by far our longest episode ever of After the Credits. But I think it's okay for
it was a whole year.
Sake.
We had to
talk
about
an entire year.
Yeah.
So I think it's appropriate. There you go. All right. Well, I'm done. I'm over it.
Yeah.
Me too.
Let's go
I'm ready for the after party.
Good episode, guys.
Let's go to the after party on the scooters.
On the scooters. Whee! Bring your margaritas.
What was